Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I now make it a personal policy to never take another job that allows, or I should say, quote unquote, allows employees to donate vacation time to a colleague for their needs. And here's why. When I was working at a different company, this was during the COVID crisis. I had colleagues who had childcare issues. Right, I don't need to tell you guys that childcare issues were at the center of COVID conversations 3, 4 years ago. Now, here's the thing: did COVID affect people with children? Of course it did, right? But guess who else it affected? People who didn't have somebody else taking care of them, right? I've had COVID 5 times. 2 of the times were really painful. The last time I had it, I was stuck in bed. I didn't even have somebody to go out to get food for me. And can you imagine if I had gone onto Zoom and called some of my colleagues, hey, I don't have any vacation time, right? Imagine if I had ran out of money and ran out of paid time off, right? How much sympathy I would get for that. But it's a very similar concept, right? And good luck getting anybody to understand that. Now, when I say that there's nobody to take care of me, I really mean it. So, my colleague and I, we might get the same amount of vacation time, right? You can always say that everybody has the same 24 hours. The problem is what you get out of those hours is a very different animal if you're going it alone, right? Let me talk about an example, not necessarily medical related, but my last vacation, I went to Kerrville, Texas to go view a solar eclipse. And the trip could have been a lot better, but for one situation. I was the only one driving the car. There were many touristy towns along the way I would have loved to see. The problem is I would get to an interesting destination, right? El Paso, Ozona, Texas, among other places, right? There were a couple places in New Mexico that I loved. There was, I think I passed by that UFO town, Roswell, New Mexico. But I would get there and I would be exhausted, and the only thing I could do was to take a nap in the car. And I really missed out. My colleague, who might have taken the same number of vacation days to go to the same destination, could have got a lot more out of it, right? Imagine I go up to my work and say, hey, I missed out on so many things during my last vacation. Even though I burned the same number of days as you, I missed out on all these things. Would you mind donating some of your vacation time to me so I could go somewhere else? How do you think that would go? How do you think that would go? Right? And so I really think we get a very one-sided story of this, right? If you happen to work at a place that allows you to donate vacation time and you're single, I encourage you to even if it's just half jokingly, right? Ask your colleagues to donate vacation time over some of these concerns. Hey, I had nobody to take care of me during COVID. Can I have an extra few days off, right? To make up for my house fell into it became very disorganized because I didn't have somebody taking care of things. It really did. The last time I had COVID, I made a mess out of myself because I had nobody taking care of me. Right? Imagine I call up my boss. Yeah, I'm well from COVID. I test negative today, but can I have another 2 days off to kind of clean up the house? Right? Imagine I did that, how that would go down. Right? It's just some food for thought out there. But I personally refuse to work for any place that allows one to donate vacation time. I encourage you not to work in those places, or at the very least, don't donate the vacation time. I was interviewing at another college that had such a policy. This was just a couple weeks ago, and I asked my the hiring manager about it. They said, "Oh, it's all voluntary. You don't have to give if you don't want to." Yeah, don't put it in there then, right? Putting it in there doesn't make it so voluntary anymore, right? That's kind of like saying you can volunteer for all the unpleasant hours, right? Yeah, That's called pressuring, right? If it, you can always help your colleague, right? It doesn't need to be put in the policy. There's nothing stopping you from giving to your colleagues GoFundMe if they have one, or even just privately giving them some sort of charity, right? There's nothing stopping anybody from doing that, right? Why does it have to be in the employee handbook, right? That's called manipulation, in my opinion. That's not voluntary, right? But people need to stop giving that. Or if you insist on giving to your colleague because you're a generous person, that's good on you. But do it outside of the workplace policy. Or don't use the workplace PTO donation policy to do that, right? Give them money outside of that, right? Give to a GoFundMe for them, or even just give them cold hard cash, right? Don't let the workplace bully you into this, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.